Hello and welcome to the news on NTA International. I'm Nancy Godi Angunihu, and on sign language is Hannah Olayinka. First, the headlines. VP Shettima meets stakeholders on agri-development, mandates Ebonyi and Jigawa governors to meet with Brazilian delegations. Over 18,000 women benefit from First Ladies Empowerment Program in North Central. Others take turns across regions. And EU vows to take action to bolster underwater security in Baltic Sea after suspected sabotage of infrastructure. And in a move to address Nigeria's food security challenges, Vice President Kashim Shettima has reaffirmed the federal government's commitment to supporting local farmers through targeted interventions. He gave the assurance during the steering committee meeting of the Presidential Food Systems Coordinating Units at the Presidential Villa. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila reports that the Vice President said the economic realities facing the local farmers demand strategic government intervention to reduce production costs and support local farmers. The Vice President specifically directed Governors Umar Namadi of Jigawa State and Francis Mwifuru of Ebonyi State to engage with Brazilian delegation, being the two major food production states in the Federation. The two governors acknowledged the unit's critical role in transforming Nigeria's agriculture and ramping up food production. Technical assistant to the President on Agriculture and coordinator of the unit, Marion Moon, reaffirmed commitment to ensuring affordable food for all citizens while incentivizing increased production to maintain food stability. EU vows to take action to bolster the security of underwater cables in the Baltic Sea after the suspected sabotage of infrastructure. Several undersea telecoms and power cables have been damaged in recent months, with observers allegedly accusing Moscow of orchestrating a hybrid war against Western countries supporting Ukraine. Frama Pani reports.
The EU's position followed several undersea telecoms and power cables damaged in the Baltic Sea in recent months. Before the EU's announcement, Sweden posited it was investigating suspected damage to an underwater cable east of the Baltic island of Gotland. The European Commission said it will step up security requirements for underwater cables and prioritize financing for the deployment of new and smart cables. It also said the EU would increase the capacity for the swift repair of damaged cables and would reinforce sanctions against hostile actors and the shadow fleet. Security analysts are alleging that Russia is operating a shadow fleet of hundreds of vessels aiming to dodge Western sanctions, some of whom are accused of damaging cables.
Once we need also to recover and repair faster from incidents. That's why, first, the creation of an EU cable vessel reserve to increase the EU's capacity to repair damaged cables. Second, we will also support the establishment of strategic reserves for the main cable spare parts. And third, we will enhance also our cooperation with NATO. Finally, the EU needs to enhance its deterrence posture. For this, the EU should be equipped with the necessary means to qualify, prove, attribute formally and sanction. We need to step up the actions against the shadow fleet and also clarify the law of the sea to allow our member states board vessels representing a security risk.
Brussels said it will roll out concrete actions later this year and the next. The bloc will work with private firms to report incidents quicker, an EU official said, noting some 60% of fiber optic cables are operated by private companies. Also, the EU will suspend sanctions on serious banking, energy and transport sectors on Monday, diplomats said, in a bid to help the country's reconstruction after the ouster of Bashar al-Assad. Syria's new leaders have been clamoring for the West to ease sanctions on the countries imposed to target Assad's regime during the civil war. But Europe and other powers have been reluctant to move before clear signals from the new Islamist-led rulers in Damascus that they are serious on having inclusive transition. The step, due to be green-lit at a meeting of EU foreign ministers in Brussels, is a formal move after the bloc struck a preliminary accord last month to suspend sanctions in key areas. Diplomats talking on Friday said the sanctions could be reimposed if serious new leaders break promises to respect the rights of minorities and move towards democracy. Again, the EU on Friday summoned Rwanda's ambassador to demand Kigali pull out troops from neighboring Democratic Republic of Congo and stop backing an offensive by the M23 armed group. M23 forces have seized large swaths of the mineral-rich eastern DRC, including the main cities of Goma and Bukavu, in the face of limited resistance from Congolese forces. United Nations experts have alleged Rwanda effectively controls the M23 and has at least 4,000 troops fighting alongside the group. The EU's move comes after Germany on Thursday summoned the Rwandan ambassador in Berlin, and the United States imposed sanctions on Rwanda's Minister for Regional Integrations, James Kabarebe. Frama Pani, NTA News.
Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov meets his Chinese counterpart Wang Yi on the sidelines of the G20 Foreign Ministers meeting in South Africa. Earlier, Wang told his G20 counterparts that a window for peace is opening for the Ukraine crisis days after top US and Russian diplomats met in Saudi Arabia. Again, Frama Pani reports.
Chinese foreign minister has told his G20 counterparts that a window for peace is opening for Ukraine crisis days after top US and Russian diplomats met in Saudi Arabia. China noted that calls for peace talks have been rising recently and a window for peace is opening, Wang Yi said, according to a readout of his speech at the G20 meeting in South Africa published by Beijing's foreign ministry. At talks in Riyadh, Russia and the United States agreed to establish teams to negotiate a path to ending the war that began when Russia invaded Ukraine in February 2022. China supports all efforts to achieve peace, including this recent consensus reached between the United States and Russia, Wang said. We hope that all parties involved can find a sustainable and lasting solution that addresses each other's concerns, he added. U.S. President Donald Trump is pushing for a swift resolution of the 3-year conflict in Ukraine, while Russia sees his outreach as a chance to win concessions. The Riyadh meeting marks a major diplomatic coup for Moscow, which had been isolated for 3 years under the previous U.S. administration of President Joe Biden. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky slammed his nation's exclusion from the Riyadh gathering, which lasted more than 4 hours. Since Moscow launched its full-scale invasion in Ukraine, Beijing has sought to portray itself as a neutral party in the conflict. Western nations, including the United States, have backed Ukraine and criticized China's refusal to condemn Russia. Frama Pani, NTA News.
The 8th edition of the International Conference on Love and Tolerance has opened in Abuja to draw global attention to the role of tolerance in achieving a peaceful society. The event is organized by the Institute for Peace and Conflict Resolution and Ufuk Dialogue. David Ayre reports.
In the last 8 years, the Institute for Peace and Conflict Resolution has championed this conference as a tool for achieving global peace, focusing on messages of love and tolerance in crisis-ridden regions, with Ufuk Dialogue as a major partner. Mindful of the global peace and security landscape, which is now dotted with violent conflicts, this partnership is investing in knowledge exchanges as a veritable means of bridging the gap in perceptions on diversity inherent in multicultural and multireligious societies.
Innovations and creativity incubate and thrive in peaceful environment. Nigeria's and Africa's youthful population will become more impactful when their vulnerabilities are reduced through imbibing a culture of peace and understanding, growing beyond ethno-religious disparities, exploring opportunities in the digital space, and utilizing the social capital inherent in our rich culture.
Ufuk Dialogue, we believe that young people are not just the leaders of tomorrow. They are the architects of today. They stand at the crossroads of great challenges: conflict, equality, climate change, and economic hardship.
Although Nigeria has received its fair share of conflict in multiple fronts, participants at this conference agreed that greater strides have also been made in peace building, especially in sensitization and awareness creation among religious and ethnic groups.
We need to do a twist around in our understanding and insist that peace is priority. Whatever you do, even if you are a soldier, if you are a general, you must be fighting. You must be acting for peace.
Anywhere in Nigeria where there is mismanagement of peace, what is happening? Life is losing and development is no more there. So the youth should know that whoever is telling them to take arms, he is trying to destroy their future.
The theme of the conference is empowering youth, cultivating a culture of peace and understanding. In Abuja, David Ire, NTA News.
Now to gender development. The landscape of women empowerment in Nigeria is becoming brighter as a fresh set of 18,500 beneficiaries across the country take delivery of economic empowerment items. The intervention is being undertaken by Office of the Senior Special Assistant to the President on SDGs in collaboration with the Renewed Hope Initiative. State House correspondent Adeniyi Taiwo reports that Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu flagged off the presentation with beneficiaries in the Federal Capital Territory.
The North Central states of Benue, Kogi, Kwara, Nasarawa, Niger and Plateau are having the first shot in this round of intervention, with 500 women drawn from each state and the Federal Capital Territory taking delivery of empowerment items including gas cooker, deep freezer, generator and grinding machine.
The news. Stay with us. Sorry for the technical hitch that has caused a loss of audio. Now we reintroduce the story on the First Lady. As a fresh set of 18,500 beneficiaries across the country take delivery of economic empowerment items. The international intervention is being undertaken by Office of the Senior Special Assistant to the President on SDGs in collaboration with the Renewed Hope Initiative. State House correspondent Adeniyi Taiwo reports that Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu flagged off the presentation with beneficiaries in the Federal Capital Territory.
One another, provide the necessary encouragement and guidance to inspire more women to take advantage of the platform that is being provided and align with the renewed hope agenda of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR to unlock energy and natural resources for sustainable development.
The solid mineral sector, which contributes an estimated 7% to Nigeria's GDP, has the potential to drive massive job creation and industrialization. However, it cannot achieve its full potential if women remain underrepresented and underserved.
Investing in women is not just a moral obligation, it is an economic necessity. Throughout this conference, we will engage in critical discussions on various aspects of women participation in the mining sector, including workplace inclusion and career advancement.
She charged women in the industry to unite and be supportive of one another to become a force to be reckoned with. That was the First Lady at the Women in Mining Conference, represented by the wife of the Vice President, Nana Shettima. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, has appealed to the media to shun sensationalization in reporting the activities of the government of Renewed Hope. At the second edition of the ministerial press briefing in the year 2025, the minister assured an unrelenting flow of information and wants Nigerians to follow the proceedings provided by the platform to interrogate and stay up to date on the activities of the federal government.
platform, as well as also ensuring that feedback mechanism is properly in place. Like I promised during the inauguration of the 2025 ministerial press briefing, this is one of the efforts of the Tinubu administration to ensure that Nigerians are always informed as accurately, as honestly, as transparently as possible about all programs and policies of government. And needless to say, we expect that the Nigerian media, indeed any other media organization, is expected to also report this with utmost care. The idea is that Nigeria is first for all of us.
7 out of the 47 ministers have so far appeared and gave scorecards of their ministries under the Renewed Hope government. Meanwhile, interventions by the Ministry of Regional Development has ensured return of peace in Niger Delta region under the present administration. This and other achievements were part of submissions made by the Minister Abubakar Momo at the second edition of ministerial briefings held in Abuja. Ekene Ndulwe was there.
Create the Ministry of Regional Development.
Minister of Regional Development Abubakar Momo is on the spotlight. The ministry is barely 4 months old, created in October 2024 as an expansion of the responsibilities of the Ministry of Niger Delta Development. He is happy to announce that since 2023, under the former ministry, many abandoned projects across the 9 states of the Niger Delta region were completed.
We are back on the reconstruction and completion of Beregolo Ogriagbene Road, which is in Delta State. We also completed the rehabilitation of Ukwala, Igurucha Road, Phase 1 in Imo State. And in addition, we also initiated projects in order to meet the infrastructural needs of the region.
The ministry recently assumed supervision of newly created regional development commissions, and the minister is promising tailored solutions to challenges across the regions.
I have to commend the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for not only deeming it necessary to create the Ministry of Regional Development. Such development will be brought to the grassroots. I think by the time the development commissions start, see massive development across the 6 regions of Nigeria.
The ministerial briefing was introduced to keep Nigerians informed as transparently as possible on government policies. In Abuja, Ekene Ndulwe, NTA News.
The Ministry of Livestock Development is poised to revive the National Veterinary Research Institute, JOS, for the production of 1.2 billion vaccines, as well as the unlocking of untapped potential in the industry. Minister of Livestock Development, Idi Mukhtar Meha, was speaking during the second edition of the 2025 ministerial briefing at the National Press Center. Yusuf Jika reports.
This is the first appearance of the Minister of Livestock Development at the ministerial briefing coordinated by the Office of the Minister of Information and National Orientation. Idi Meha said the foundation of the ministry is solid, with 7 technical departments working out steps to transform the livestock industry to global standards in line with the federal government Renewed Hope agenda.
We are coming with a number of initiatives that will suit our economic and social dynamics, organizing outgrowers. We are coming up with initiatives on youth and women who are going to be involved in livestock businesses, including commercial pasture cultivation, as well as reviving the poultry sector.
To tackle zoonotic diseases occasioned by the transboundary animal disease, the ministry is poised to resuscitate the National Veterinary Research Institute to produce 1.2 billion vaccines across the range annually. And apart from gaining huge investment deals from global livestock giants, the ministry is working out modalities to create an enabling environment to woo more investors. In Abuja, Yusuf Jika, NTA News.
National Executive Committee of the New Nigeria People's Party, NNPP, is optimistic that its current leadership reform strategy will earn the party federal control on more states in 2027. At the first NEC meeting of the year, the party commended its leadership for the various reforms and thanked INEC for its supervisory role. The party urged Nigerians to ignore the expelled members claiming to be the leaders, noting that it is on the right course to victory in 2027.
It is definitely going to be a tough journey. However, no journey is worth undertaking if it is not tough. We are the NNPP. We embody the hopes and future of our youth, and we are poised to lift Nigeria out of its current state and build a nation of which all of us will be proud.
I also want to appeal to our leaders in various states, local governments and wards, even those at chapters across the country, to continue to work hard, to continue to have unity of purpose, so that at the end of the day, the party can win its elections in 2027.
Satisfaction with the performance of those elected on their platform, calling on other political office holders to emulate NNPP.
If you see what's happening in Kano is not happening in other states. A lot of governors have started copying what we are doing. They knew that we're on the right path.
I want to inform this gathering that in conjunction with INEC, we have just completed the auditing of our accounts for the year 2022 to 2023.
The Voice of Nigeria and the National Automotive Design and Development Council are synergizing towards improved information dissemination on milestones being recorded in the nation's automotive industry. This was when the Director General of VON, Jibril Baba Ndache, led a delegation of top management staff of VON on a courtesy visit to the Director General, National Automotive Design and Development Council, Joseph Osanimi, at the council's headquarters in Abuja. Chukuno Songwabweze reports.
Designed to address key challenges facing the nation's automotive sector, the Nigerian Automotive Industry Development Plan, being implemented by the National Automotive Design and Development Council, is making the desired impact. This visit by the Voice of Nigeria management is to build a partnership that will further project programs and policies of the council to the Nigerian public and beyond through VON's various broadcast platforms.
Everything you are doing in terms of research, enhancing industrialization, we will continue to highlight all these milestones as we work together. Because if we showcase what you are doing, we are showcasing Nigeria. And that is what we are determined to do.
The Director General of National Automotive Design and Development Council, while emphasizing on the 7 pillars of the nation's auto policy, reiterated the Council's commitment towards repositioning the sector through development and promotion of locally manufactured parts.
In the next few years, if not this year, we want one of the major OEM to start operation back in Nigeria. We are working on that. One other thing we are working on with expectation is that before the end of this year, we want to commission some laboratory that will aid that will facilitate our effort in developing local components.
With a dedicated weekly program on the activities of NADDC on all VON platforms as part of the gains of this collaboration, the Council is optimistic of leveraging VON's huge audience in driving its message of patronizing made in Nigeria automotive products. Chukunon Songwabweze, NTA News.
Of Hannah Olayinka, who's been on sign language. This is Nancy Godiangunihu thanking you for watching. Bye.